po sa Greetings to po ng broadcast ng aming programa. At tayo po ay narito sa pagkakait natin maging encouragement sa mga mananampalataya at ito din naman makatulong sa mga hindi pa nakakilala kay Kristo na sila po ay maligtas. Ngayon pong umaga, ako po pala si Pastor Rudy Calayan sa Grace Baptist Church at kasama ko si Dr. Dan Ferrer. Natatalakayin ang ilang mga bagay patungkol sa history ng mga karamdaman na kagaya ng COVID-19. And so this morning we'd like to talk about this because this is a crisis happening in our shores. And so, Dr. Farrell, what can you say about the crisis that we are going through right now, not just in the Philippines, but worldwide?
Well, it's a problem. And what's interesting is that this is all new.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what's going on. I mean, not even the authorities, and that's always the problem I've often had with pastors and preachers. Is that if you don't know for sure what's going on, you don't have strong evidence, then don't act like you do.
Right.
So we've got people like that Dr. Fauci, is that his name, in America. You know, now his credibility is being called into question. Just today is April 15th, it looks like America is going to stop funding the World Health Organization, which I think they should. It looks like the WHO has kind of been in bed with China,
Right.
and has withheld information.
Right.
There's not much doubt now that China is behind this. How sinister it is. Was it a bat in a laboratory and all this? And why is it that it starts in Wuhan and yet they have less fatalities than America? And so, I mean, it's just a lot of questions,
Right.
and everybody's afraid to ask the questions, it seems like.
Right.
But one thing's for sure, every government is taking the same posture. Stay, social distancing, wear the mask, shut down businesses, shut down churches.
Right.
I mean, in America, if you want an abortion, you're allowed to go get an abortion, no social distancing.
Right.
But if you want to worship God, you have to stay home, you cannot do that.
Well, that's really funny
The
because that's
hypocrisy.
right, the hypocrisy of people because they wanted to stop people from going to church, and yet they allow people to get an abortion.
Right,
So that's happening right now
correct.
in America.
And some pastors are being arrested. One church in Mississippi, the people came and sat in the parking lot with their window cracked open to listen to their pastor on the PA system. Every member was given a $500 fine. And I think the pastor was arrested.
Right.
Another church was arrested, the members were arrested in Kentucky. We've had pastors in Samar arrested.
Right.
I haven't heard of any here in Quezon
Cagayan de
province.
Oro.
Oh, really?
There is one in Cagayan de Oro, but he apologized. He was released. Nevertheless, he was handcuffed, and I'm not sure if he was thrown in jail, but that is what he said.
Yeah.
Well, in America, it doesn't seem like this is something that your government would allow for a pastor
Right.
not to preach the word of God.
Well, I do think it's more local governments. Again, people are overreacting, they're freaking out, and I think we'll cover this week. So the folks that are tuning in, this week what we're going to try to do, we're going to try to talk about history. I've often said the only thing men learn from history is that men never learn from history. So we need, if you want to know what's going to come in the future, you got to look back. And then you look back and you see the cycles, then you're going to know what's coming. And then I think Wednesday we're going to talk about what can we do now.
Right.
We're in this
Right.
I don't know, crisis, if you will. And listen, it's not just a health crisis. We're in an economic crisis.
Exactly.
And now there are people committing suicide.
Right.
And you got people that can't feed their children. And you got politicians who are clueless on what's going on.
Right.
And then I think the next two programs, you said that we would do on prophecy, how does this factor in the last hours of the last days?
Right.
And
Well, I think it's important for people not to panic,
Right.
because I think people are overreacting, and I think that is counterproductive, actually, And like you said, economy has been affected in the Philippines. We have big corporations, of course, the Philippine Airlines. I think they are in trouble now. They are still in business, but they are really affected. And not just the airline industry, the shipping, the cruise ship, of course, entertainment. We have stores closed, and a lot of people have lost their jobs because of this crisis. Now, let's go into the history of this issue. What can we learn from the past with respect to the crisis we're going through right now?
Well, one thing we know is that prophecy is history pre-written. And the Lord tells us in the Word of God that, like Daniel chapter 2, also we see it reiterated in Daniel 8, where he has Babylon, remember? And then Babylon will be conquered by the Persians. And then the Persians will be conquered by the Grecians. And then the Greeks will be conquered by the Romans. And then what comes next is like a revived Roman Empire. And then that will be replaced by the Stone Kingdom, which will be Jesus Christ ushering in the millennium. Now, at Grace Baptist Church, Pastor Rudy and myself, we are biblicists, meaning with us, if we ever had an open mind, no more. We are convinced that the Word of God is accurate. And the mistakes are found in our interpretation, but there are no mistakes in the Word of God. And when the plain sense makes sense, seek no other sense. So what we see in history then, we see the Bible bears this out, that in Europe there has been this feudal system, this king of the hill, so to speak, even going back to World War I. Remember when Germany decided they wanted to conquer, Heil Hitler and the Viva la France, was fighting, and then of course El Duce in Italy, Mussolini, and World War II. Now what we see is all these governments, they've got to figure out a way to control the people. Because basically they want to be in control of the money, they want to be in control of keeping people subservient to the government, and so there's a loss of freedom. And what they know is this: when people worship God and love God, then they're not going to recognize the state as the authority. So we have to get rid of religious freedom. Now, for those of you, we don't know who our audience is yet, but if you're familiar with American history, you know that the forefathers of America, when they went to America, it was the Great Experiment. And they came up with what was called the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the First Amendment is freedom of religion. That the state will not make any laws that will infringe upon the freedom of religion. And we love the Philippine Islands. The Philippines, I don't know if it's written in your Constitution, but it just, to me, the culture seems to adopt some of the ideals of America. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly, yeah, I agree.
So that's why we see a lot more freedom of religion in the Philippines than even in America. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know who you give the credit to, the gospel, God, I don't know. Now what we're seeing is, there's a fellow in America named Rahm Emanuel, and he is a liberal, Democrat, communist, but he says this: never let a good crisis go to waste. You know what that means? In other words, when there's a crisis, let's use it to push our agenda, so to speak. And I think what's happening, the globalists, you know what a globalist is, right? They want a global world government. They are going to use this crisis to strip away freedoms. And I'm not saying that, when I say that, Pastor, I'm not saying there's not a virus. But you've had the flu before.
Yes.
I've had the flu before. I've had pneumonia before. There's all kinds of diseases out there. But we've never seen a total, what do you call it, lockdown, like we're seeing it now. And I'm suspicious. Are you suspicious?
Yes, I am. I think a lot of our freedoms have been taken away, especially.
And they say for a good reason, right?
Right, exactly. And especially the right to assemble and worship God. I think that is a very fundamental. That is something that should not be taken away from anybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter what kind of God you
But they're
worship.
trying to protect you, they say.
Right, that is what they say.
Right.
And of course, even Christians now think that they don't, I don't think they don't see the agenda. But it's really controlled. I think that a lot of our government wants to, they just think that with the virus, they can control, they want to see if they can control the.
Well, the sad thing is it's even turning Christians against Christians.
Exactly.
We, at Grace Baptist, we don't want to condemn somebody if they feel like they have to stay home during
Stay home.
crisis.
Stay home.
Now, stay home. I don't agree with you,
Right.
but I still respect you. But on the other hand, now you got people that stay home, and they're condemning churches or pastors who decide they want to. See, of course, you're a Filipino. You've got some American in you. I've got some Filipino in me. I'm telling you right now, it's not the government's job to protect me. Now, protect the borders, yes, but
Well, what if they say, they might say to you, well, if you do not like to protect yourself, we want to protect the people that might get infected because you have a virus.
right.
That's probably something that
They
they
probably
would
would argue
say.
that. And I would say I do like to protect myself.
Right.
And I also, like, you're the pastor, right? You're the senior pastor. You would, if one of these ladies here that's helping us with this program, if they had a flu symptom, say it wasn't even coronavirus, it was just a flu, what would you tell them? Stay home.
Stay home.
Do not come to
Right,
church.
so that people don't get infected.
So in other words, the government is saying that entrepreneurs and business people and pastors don't have common sense.
Basically, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you have no common sense.
Right,
Because
right.
this is setting a precedent. When is the next virus going to come out?
Exactly.
It may be called, Rovid,
Right.
Rovid 26. When that, are we going to shut everything down?
Right. Right.
Where does this stop?
Yeah. Well, in the past, we had some terrible illness, and they did not lock down our communities.
Did H1N1 come here? Was it here?
Yes.
And
SARS,
SARS.
exactly. But they were not as concerned as they are with the coronavirus for some
Do
reason.
you think the media has played a part in this?
Oh yes.
I do too.
Right, exactly.
They got to create a story.
Right, because that's what they do in media.
Mhm.
They create stories so that people can talk about the story.
And so they watch the program, so
Exactly.
they have sponsors, and then they make money.
Right.
I'm just telling you that tomorrow we'll talk about this in the next program. I believe that there is a sinister something going on.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend to be the authority, like I know all the details. I'm just saying most of it. Well, history has proven that people can be manipulated, and that fear and manipulation. Well, look, in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, God will send them strong delusion that they might believe a lie.
Right.
And I believe that people are like sheeple, and they just get scared, and next thing you know, it motivates everything they think. And instead of fearing God and trusting God, we trust the government, or we trust our own understanding. And again, Pastor, we here at Grace Baptist Church, we provide soap, we provide, disinfectant, social distancing.
Exactly.
And our people are careful to wear masks and so on when they're out and about. We have some common sense.
Yeah.
We appreciate governments for what they do, but when they step over the line and say you cannot worship,
Right.
you've stepped over a sacred line.
Exactly.
And people have died
Uh,
in disobedience to that type of edict or that type
Right.
of rule.
exactly. I think that we should be given the right to assemble.
Yeah.
And because we're careful, we follow the government's guidelines because we don't want to get sick. I think and if anybody's sick, we ask them to stay home because I think that we should be responsible. We should not worry, but we should be concerned.
Right.
And that is what the Bible says.
And if I do get sick, it's my responsibility. You see?
Right.
And so that's the way it is. So we will continue this next program. So
Right.
tell the folks about how they can find us at Grace Baptist Church.
Right. Well, we have a web page and a Facebook page, and we'd like to invite you to watch our services at Grace Baptist Church Lucena. You can find us there. We also have services here because of the lockdown. We've been having services in the morning, 9 o'clock Sunday school, 10 o'clock service, and then in the afternoon we come back at 1:30. If you'd like to join us, you're most welcome to be here and be with us. We have a Christian school. If you are looking for a Christian school, well, I encourage you to check us out and see what God has in store for you. Well, thank you and see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bless you.